Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time. Reporting to you live, I'm Zahra Badouri from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. But first, we'll begin with your top and exclusive headlines for this broadcast. Minister Osman Saleh delivered speech at the AU summit. An announcement from the Ministry of Health, and more. On your international, European countries starting to vaccinate 5 to 11-year-old citizens. Cyclone Betsari nears Madagascar poses very serious threat on the land. Welcome to your domestic in brief. Foreign Minister Osman Saleh delivered speech at the 35th summit of the African Union. In his speech, Minister Osman Saleh expressing gratitude to the government and people of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia for the warm hospitality accorded to the Eritrean delegation, said that the summit is being conducted at a critical juncture where global rivalry between major power blocs has come into the forefront when the pentagram that underpinned the unipolar international order for the past 30 years appeared to undergo a radical shift due to the new dynamics in the global peak order for power and influence. Minister Osman also said that in all instances Africa remains a mere bystander, unable to play a significant role even on very grave matters that affect its national security and economic development, and inviolable rights for independent political choices and economic developmental trajectories continued to be flaunted. In so many parts of Africa, recent episodes in Mali, Guinea, and the Horn of illustrative cases, the patterns being observed is for major Western powers to literally issue condensing ultimatums and diktat to shape development through the prism of their own interests and from their perspective. And that means Africa has now independent saying or latitude to determine matters in its own house, Minister Osman retreated. These realities, Minister Osman went on to say that provoking a host of questions at this critical juncture, it behooves on African countries with no option but to critically assess the path that they have been treaded in the past 60 years since the Continental Organization, the OAU, was established in 1963, and for that, the content needs to chart out an integrated continental strategy to ensure that Africa's economy, technological, political, and diplomatic structure is commensurated with its potential, and that enables Africa to occupy its right's place within the world. Minister Osman also said that if the envisioned aspirations and solemn objective and goals mapped out at the outset were not fulfilled, the defected did not stem from an appropriate or incoherent vision, and that the underlying cause of failure was indeed the debating disparity between ideals and concrete practices, from Africa's subordination and subservience to external interest and political stewardship. Unfortunately, Minister Osman underlined that the African Union had not fared better in the past 20 years in the realm of national security. To debacle in Libya accorded under the watch of the African Union, and that Africa is today a host for a plethora of foreign military bases and external interventionists forces under the thrust of fighting terrorism, and in most conflict situations, the peace desire is invaluably managed under the auspicious of US and EU contact groups and special envoys to the full extortion of Africa and or in relevant local regional stakeholders. Africa's huge economic potential that constitutes 60% of global endowment remains yet to be translated to generate local wealth, and under Africa, the economic powerhouse that it deserves to be. And in spite of huge investment in human capital, Africa remains confined to the reproduction and export of primary commodities, and that was the lack of capacity and investment in value addition continues to perpetuate a lopsided and exploitative international trade regime, Minister Osman stressed. Minister Osman further noted that political, of ethic and religious staves, the conclusion of vast segments of society in the governance architectures and pursuit of economic policies that deprive and marginalize the majority of the populations are other profound malaises that will require urgent readdress for Africa to relaunch itself on the path of sustainable and equitable development. These formidable challenges, Minister Osman stressed, will require multifaceted and synergetic approaches and viable strategies at the national, regional, and continental levels, including the three-track approach to enhance coherence, complementarity, and practically of the strategies that are mapped out. All these factors underline the imperative for more vigorous engagements to revitalize the African Union, to chart out new strategies at all levels through a multi-track approach to ensure resituation of appropriate economic and political power to Africa that is commensurated with its true potential, Minister Osman reminded. In related news, the senior Eritrean delegation composed of Mr. Osman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Presidential Advisor Mr. Yamana Gabrab, that are participating at the 35th Summit of the African Union, met and held talks with the African Union Commissioner for Political Peace and Security Affairs, Ambassador Bonokle Adoya. In their meeting, the two sides held discussion focusing on promoting peace and security in the Horn of Africa and in the African continent at large. On your health report, 12 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at testing stations and quarantine centers in the central and southern Red Sea regions. Out of these, 8 patients are from testing stations in Asmara Central region, 4 patients are from quarantine centers in Asab, southern Red Sea region. On the other hand, 12 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central, 10, and Gashwar Katsu regions have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 9,363, while the number of deaths stands at 100. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 9,631. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 5th February 2022. On your final domestic report, Eritrea is participating at a Winter Olympics that will be held from 4th to 20th of this February 2022 in Beijing, People's Republic of China. At the opening ceremony conducted on 4th February, Eritrea was represented by athlete Shannon Ogbanye. According to the Eritrean carrying the Eritrean flag, however, athlete Shannon will compete in the skiing contest that will be held on 13th of February. Athlete Shannon Ogbanye, the first Eritrean to compete in the skiing competition, had participated at the Winter Olympics in 2012, representing Eritrea. At the Winter Olympics that is being conducted for the 24th time, Africa will be represented by 5 athletes from Eritrea, Nigeria, Morocco, Madagascar, and Ghana. Up next with your global report, stay tuned for more. And on your reports on the international stream, several European nationals started vaccinating children aged 5 to 11 against COVID-19 on Wednesday in an effort to contain a raging pandemic and keeping schools open, while others are still descending their approaches. Germany, Spain, Greece, and Hungary were among those opening up their inculcations drives to younger kids, with doctors reporting strong initial demand from parents aimed at concerns about the fast-spreading Omicron variant of the COVID-19. Greek Education Minister Nikki Karamous was among the first to arrive at to Athens Hospital to have her young son vaccinated, state TV ERi-TV reported. The country has so far registered more than 30,000 vaccine appointments for kids. However, the EU's medicine watchdog last month approved the Pfizer-BioNTech shot for 5 to 11-year-olds, an age group experiencing high coronavirus infection rates across the continent. The vaccine is administered in a lower dosage than the Pfizer jab for over 12s and comes in a pediatric vial with an orange cap to distinguish it from the purple cap vials for older ages. Denmark, which has seen a surge in cases attributed to the new Omicron variant, and some Austrian regions already began offering jabs as well to younger kids in November. The United States was the first largest country to take the plunge and has so far vaccinated more than 5 million children in the ages of 5-11 brackets. On your final report for this broadcast, Cyclone Betsari was expected to reach eastern Madagascar on Saturday, posing a very serious threat, in quotation, to millions, with powerful winds and torrential rains set to batter the large Indian Ocean island. Residents hankered down before the storm's arrival, and winds from more than 200 kilometers per hour 124 miles per hour were forecasted as it bore down on the country, still recovering from the deadly tropical storm Anna in late January. After passing Matrius and drenching the French island of La Réunion from 2 days with torrential rain, Betsari was about 250 kilometers east of Madagascar early Saturday, the Metro France weather agency stated. Betsari should make landfall between late afternoon and evening Saturday as an intense tropical cyclone for this Saturday, however, as reported, presenting a very serious threat to the area, the forecaster said in its morning bulletin. In this Saturday, the eye of the storm was forecasted to cross the center of the island overnight into Sunday before leaving its western shores by Monday. As reported by the Metro France, winds should reach about more than 200 or even 250 kilometers per hour at the point of impact, and waves could reach as high as 15 meters, 50 feet. The United Nations said it was ramping up its preparedness with aid agencies, placing rescue aircrafts on standby and stockpiling humanitarian supplies. Jens Lerke, spokesman for the UN's humanitarian organization, the OSHA, told reporters in Geneva Friday that the impact of Betsari on Madagascar is expected to be considerable. At least 131,000 people were affected by Anna across Madagascar in late January. At least 58 people were killed, mostly in the capital, Antananarivo. The storm also hit Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique, causing dozens of deaths. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Until we're back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. But until then, these are your exclusive headlines for this broadcast in review. Minister Osman Saleh, Minister of Foreign Affairs, delivers speech at AU Summit. An announcement from the Ministry of Health and Eritrea participating at Winter Olympic Games. On your international, European countries start to vaccinating 5 to 11-year-old citizens. And finally, Cyclone Batsari nears Madagascar, posing very serious threats on civilians and land. That is all for now. Have a nice one.